At about like 10:30 that night to say, hey, we actually decided we're going to come back there after we're done partying.
Okay.
But they continued to be out partying for a while after that. You look confused.
Well, no, what I'm trying to reconcile, and maybe you can help me get a beat on this, is I know that Stacy called her mom and told her mom that she was going to be staying at what's the friend's name? Janelle's house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So she didn't know about this change of plans, and so I'm just trying to figure out, did they all plan to do that, and she just didn't call her mom, or do you have a good sense of it?
I don't think it was a plan necessarily. I think I don't know. I think it just happened, and and the reading that I saw, it did say that Susie called her mom to discuss the plans. Although I guess now that I think about it, it didn't clarify what plans they were talking about. So it could have been the change of plans from the motel to Janelle's house, and that they just showed up at Cheryl's house at.
They're teenage girls.
Yeah.
I mean, they're teenagers. I shouldn't say girls. They're teenagers. They're prone to just radically changing plans.
Yes, and everybody, please do keep in mind this is pre-cell phone.
Yeah, this is 1992.
1992. So they weren't going to just text mom and be like, okay, we're coming over now, actually, just kidding.
Yeah, you can't send her an email because it's, 4K modem or whatever they were.
Yeah.
Yep.
32K.
And the girls didn't arrive at Cheryl's house until... So I would suspect that the plans kind of changed. Everyone was asleep at Janelle's house and they didn't want to wake anybody up using the phone, so they just headed over there. But they drove separate cars. Cheryl had been home all evening. She was reportedly refinishing a dresser. That's according to a friend. She spoke to a friend on the phone at like 11:15 p.m. Who said she was talking about the project she was working on, which was refinishing a dresser. And that's like the last confirmed anything we know about them at all.
All three.
Of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All three.
Not a clue left behind.
No. Essentially, sometime between 2:15 a.m. and 8 a.m., these three women just vanished, basically. I mean, really, basically.
They evaporated, yeah.
Yeah. For all anybody can tell, they were just raptured, clothes and all. No, seriously. I mean, like, they just disappeared.
So when the rapture comes, you don't get to take your purse with you?
Don't think so. Or your cigarettes?
Smokes? Yeah.
So, Janelle, when Stacy and Susie left Janelle's house, she said, all right, you know what, just call me in the morning, like 8 a.m., like let's wake up at 8, I think the water park opened at like 9 or something, so they were like, yeah, you know what, call me at 8, we'll figure out who's driving, all of that stuff, and then we'll just go from there. So she was expecting to hear from them at 8 a.m.
Sometime in the morning at
Yeah.
least. I mean, they're teenage kids. They sleep in. They've been up till 2 in the morning.
Yeah.
If I'm up till 2 in the morning, I don't get up at 8 a.m.
No,
I
me
don't
neither.
usually either.
But I think I did when I
Possibly
was 18, especially if I was excited about something.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, she doesn't hear from them, and she just calls the house. And I think it was reported to be pretty close to 8. She seemed like she was kind of, ready to go and a little annoyed that they hadn't called her yet. So she called them, and she called a couple times, and there was no answer. And so she called her boyfriend to come pick her up and drive her over to Cheryl's house. When they got there, all three of the cars, because Susie had her own car, Stacy had her own car, and then Cheryl had her car. All three of the cars were parked outside. When they walked onto the porch, and they noticed there was broken glass on the porch.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah.
Janelle said that she noticed that the dome light on the porch
Like the glass globe that goes around the
that it
light
was
bulb.
broken.
Yeah.
I could never, because you see the recreations and I've seen the pictures of the house. It's actually a globe, though, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know that sounds dumb to ask, but the domes, or as we refer to them, the boob lights, are always in the actual ceiling.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes a difference in terms of where it is.
Yeah, no, it was an actual globe.
Okay.
I don't think they make the, as you so aptly put it, boob lights as porch lights usually.
Yeah, you don't see it often. But
Yeah, because it's too much wiring to have. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm making that up.
you don't see it
Please,
often.
nobody, please
Probably for
call
that
me on
reason.
that. Yeah.
We'll do a survey.
So Janelle, being a good friend and neighbor, thinks, oh, that's not good. I'll sweep that up.
I think her boyfriend swept it up.
I think her boyfriend did, but
Yeah.
one of the two of them
That was nice
swept
of
up.
them.
Yeah, they swept up the glass and threw it in the trash, which is really nice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
Apparently later on, the police were helpless to
well,
fish
we'll
those
talk about
fragments out of the
yeah,
out
we'll
of the
talk about
garbage.
that in a second.
Yeah.
So it was nice of them, and they just figured, oh well, the girls are still asleep. they knocked, or, Janelle and her boyfriend knocked a couple times, and they didn't hear a response, and they figured, oh, well, they're just still asleep. We better go in and, wake them up. And the door was unlocked. It was closed, but it was unlocked.
Yep.
And they went in and genuinely didn't think anything was wrong. All of their stuff was there, their purses. All three of the women had purses there. And then Susie and Cheryl both were smokers. And both of their packs of cigarettes were there.
Their car keys were there.
Car keys, everything.
The dog.
The dog named Cinnamon, which was reportedly agitated, but not harmed or anything. And
Probably just hungry.
yeah, probably. So they went in, and Janelle reported that it looked like both the beds, Susie and Cheryl's beds, had been slept in.
Of course, that doesn't necessarily mean anything because a lot of
Doesn't
people don't make their beds.
That's true, yeah. So that doesn't really mean a whole lot.
True. Yeah,
But
that's a good point.
she didn't really know what was going on, so she just started to leave the house. They were like, all right, I guess they just went to the water park without us, without
What
any
a
of their
jerk.
stuff. And right as Janelle was leaving, the phone rang, and she answered it because I guess she thought maybe, I don't know why she answered it.
This is so weird. Would you answer somebody else's phone in their house
I don't know.
if they're
I guess
not home?
I
might.
might actually because she's wondering what happened and she's thinking maybe
Somebody-
it's Susie calling.
Well, I don't know why Susie would call because she wouldn't expect Janelle to be there. But, maybe it was like a brother saying because she did have a brother, maybe it was the brother saying like, oh, I just wanted to check. Oh, yeah, and they were going to do this thing,
Okay, I can see
I don't
that.
know.
It's weird to me, but
It is.
can
I
see
agree. It's weird to me too, but that's what happened. She answered the phone, and on the other end was a male voice just saying lewd, pervy comments to her. And so she hung up the phone, and it rang again, and it was the same person saying the same sort of stuff.
The caller ID has eliminated that one thing from our society, if nothing else.
Except for star.
Whatever it is,
Not
to block
star
your number.
69 is the redial, but
Yeah, there's the one to block your number, but they're good enough at picking those things up that almost never happens.
yeah, which is pretty great. Yeah.
I was getting those calls all the time.
Yeah, it was awful. No. So Janelle and her boyfriend left after the two weird, creepy, pervy calls.
They didn't feed the dog?
She didn't say anything about feeding the dog. She also didn't report them missing.
Yeah, because
she
didn't
thought she
think
knew where they were.
Yeah. I guess, on the one hand, right, but I probably would have, told my mom or somebody. I would have told somebody, oh, yeah, it was weird. They weren't there. They're, those mean girls, they left. But, it was weird. Their cars and their purses were there. So,
She may very well have done that.
maybe.
And whoever she said it to just didn't, this is a very innocuous thing. I went over to somebody's house. They weren't there like they told me they were gonna be.
Yeah, that
How
happens.
familiar does this sound?
Yeah,
Happens all the time.
I guess, for me, and probably it's because I come from this, unsolved mystery headspace, but, the glass was broken. This was all there. They weren't. I would be like, wow, there's lots of weird little red flags here. Maybe.
See, no, you're from the cell phone generation where you're in contact all the time. I think Joe might be in the same boat. I've gone over to people's house pre-cell phone. I was supposed to meet him at 2 o'clock or whatever. Knock on the door and they're not there. And you sit in your car and you wait for 5 minutes.
Right.
And then you wander around the house and you try
You don't go into the house and see that all their stuff is there, though.
No, see, that's the thing is I would never have just wandered unless it was a house that I went into on a regular basis, and maybe Janelle did.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah, she might have been very familiar with the mom and Susie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I guess that brings up a bit of a point. The fact that their cigarettes were there. Cheryl's son / Susie's brother describes his mom as the kind of chain smoker who wouldn't leave a pack in a room when she left the room. She always had them with her.
She's a good smoker.
Yeah.
So if Janelle knew,
She might not have known that. I don't know.
yeah, maybe. It'd be hard to not know.
There's
it
also
if you
such
would
a
count
thing
as a
as-
mom ever.
Well, there's also such a thing as another pack of
That's
smokes.
true. That's
So,
true. Yeah. So, okay, after this, Janelle and her boyfriend go to the water park. The girls aren't there, but I guess she doesn't think anything of it. And Stacy McCall's mom was expecting a call from her daughter in the morning. And she knew that she was supposed to be at Janelle's house, so she called Janelle's house, and Janelle's sister answered and said, oh, no, they stayed at Susie's house last night. And she was kind of annoyed, but I believe she was going to buy like a wedding dress or something with her other daughter.
Something
there was
like
some
that.
big
Yeah.
appointment that she had to keep, so she thought, all right, well, I don't know the phone number over there, so I'll just swing by after.
Did she know where they actually lived? I don't
Yeah,
think she did.
I think she got the address from Janelle.
Okay.
Or Janelle's sister.
Because I knew
sorry.
she didn't have the phone number because they just recently moved into the house.
She got the address somewhere somehow because she later went by the house.
Yeah.
This was like 8 or 9. No, I'm sorry. This was more than 12 hours after they had left. It was in the afternoon, and I don't
It
remember
was.
what time, to be honest.
Pretty sure it was.
So she went to the house, and she also found the door to be unlocked, and also found all the cars there. And she says that when she went in, the TV was turned on to like fuzz.
Yeah. White noise.
Yeah, to just like white noise. And she said that she had a really weird, eerie feeling about the whole situation. She also saw that there were messages on the message machine.
Yeah.
So
Things I wouldn't have done.
yeah, although at this point, like if you haven't heard from your daughter in a really, really, really long time, that's a long time to not hear from your daughter after a night of drinking, I think. But so she listens to the messages. And there
How
was
many messages were there?
I think there was just the one.
There was several, but I don't know that we have an exact number because she didn't remember.
She didn't remember.
And she didn't remember what the content of the messages was?
She didn't.
Now that's...
There was one message that she remembered being really, really suspicious. It was a male voice who was saying, I think, lewd things again.
Probably the same
But
guy.
she said she didn't remember, and also, oops, she deleted the message.
Uh-huh, yeah.
Oops!
Yeah.
So the cops, just to like head all of your like screaming nightmare sounds off, the cops are very sure that was probably a pretty important clue.
Uh-huh, it could have been.
Any clue that you lose is important because if it's not there anymore, you spend so many man hours trying to chase it down. So regardless of if it actually was worth a damn, it was important.
Yeah, it could have just been just some prankster again,
Yeah.
some jerk. But
Stacy McCall's mom was worried, so she decided to go to the police. She hadn't heard from her daughter. She felt really weird in the house. She heard a weird message. So she went to the police and reported them missing. And the police have later since revealed kind of another big problem with this case is that apparently anywhere between 10 and 20 people came to the house looking for Cheryl and Stacy
And let themselves
Susie
in.
and let themselves in and walked around
Contaminated
and,
the whole thing.
Contaminated the whole thing. It's little things like in Susie's room, apparently the blinds, not the blinds, the curtains were open a little bit, like somebody was peeking out, which I think would be a very interesting clue if we could know that Stacy had done it. Or Susie, I'm sorry. See, I'm doing it already.
Yeah.
If we knew that one of the three women had done that, it would be interesting to know because it would at least mean that, oh, there was something that had happened outside the house.
But the other hard part here is that there's the dog.
Yeah.
And the dog could have been...
The sense that I had was that it was more than just a dog, like, shoving his face into the, parted a little at the top.
Oh, see, I got that when I heard the way it was described or read the way it was described, I got the idea that it was, maybe a slit that was about a foot or so tall.
Interesting.
And just a little bit open, because to me, that insinuates peeking when you're barely pushing them open so you can see out, but nobody realizes you're doing it, which is how cats and dogs leave curtains when they're done watching outside.
Yeah, that's fair. I hadn't thought of that.
very true. Or it could just be a case of sloppy curtain closing.
Yeah, which is rampant in this country.
Yeah, it really is.
It's a big problem.
Also, as Joe mentioned, the broken glass would have probably been a pretty important clue.
Could have.
A break pattern. Was the bulb broken as well?
I don't think the bulb was
The
broken.
bulb wasn't broken.
So it's little things like that would have been probably. How was the glass broken? Was it like,
A bullet.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can tell things like that based on how big the pieces are. Did it look like somebody had like whacked it with a bat or like hit it up or like?
Or did it look like it just finally came loose?
Yeah.
Because they do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
They do that. Those little screws work themselves loose.
No,
and
those little
yeah.
screws are worthless.
Yeah.
And those things are known to occasionally just drop to the ground.
So that would have been a pretty interesting clue to have, but we don't have it. So
Well, did the police not fish the fragments out of the garbage?
I guess not. I guess by that time they were gone.
So
I never
Janelle
read-
went over on Sunday morning,
At like 8:00 in the morning.
and the cops must have shown up.
Pretty quick and left a note on the door that was like, "Hey Cheryl, when you get home, can you let us know?"
Yeah.
And they didn't hear anything for another day, and they were like, "Okay, all right, fine, I guess we'll go."
So it's very possible that Monday was trash day,
Yeah.
and her
Yeah.
garbage was already out, or maybe the Janelle's boyfriend just threw it in that and wheeled it out there. Maybe
Yeah.
the nice. Oh, well,
Or
I know
maybe he
Monday's
didn't
trash
even
day.
throw it in a trash can. Maybe he just threw it in the street.
Nice guy.
I mean,
That is sadly quite possible.
yeah. I mean, it's totally possible that he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll clean this up, no problem, Janelle. Okay, ha,
They
great.
just chucked it
What's
to-
going on? Yeah, what are we doing in here now? Yeah." I'm going to pause here to mention, before we move into the theories situation, that there have been more than 5,000 tips regarding this case. And I am just going to briefly mention 2 of them because I think they're interesting and important. The first tip is that a server at one of Cheryl's favorite restaurants, I think it's called George's Steakhouse,
Yes.
in
think that's the name.
Springfield, said that the women came in sometime between 1 and 3 a.m.
And then was this all 3 women? Or?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was all 3 women. They all arrived together and departed together. And she said that Susie seemed to be really drunk and upset about something, and Cheryl was trying to calm her down the whole time. But even
But that was a regular hangout of hers?
of Cheryl's,
Yeah.
yeah. The police seem to discount this a little bit. They say, it's really popular and it was really busy, so it's possible she was mistaking it for a different night, which is fair. I mean, if they could have gone there Friday night instead to celebrate graduation.
Yeah.
And that it just got a little mixed up. And it's not at 18 or 19 when you're drunk and, emotional times of graduation are happening.
The other thing is witness testimony is not all that reliable as we
no.
talked about.
Yeah, not at all.
Have you guys? I just watched the other day. Have you seen that movie Horns
No.
with
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, I haven't.
just watched that the other day, and that guy's been doing some weird movies, and he's been doing a good job in them because I'm sure that after 8 Harry Potter films, he wants to do anything not normal.
Yeah.
But there's a scene where somebody is making a claim, and it turns out they're making this claim because they want to be the star and front and center, but people do that weird crap.
Yeah.
I want to be remembered forever. I want to help.
Yeah, and people, it is the attention thing.
Yep.
Yeah. Another tip is that a woman said that she saw a woman matching Susie's description driving an early model Dodge van that was described as either moss or celery green, depending on where you read or hear about it. The witness said that Susie looked like she had been crying heavily and was turning the van around that she was driving, and said that she heard a male voice say, "Don't do anything stupid," as Susie was turning the van around. Because of this tip, the police got a van that matched the description. It was the same year, make, and model, and painted it the color that was described and put it out in front of the police station with a sign that was like, "Hey, if you see a van like this, let us know."
Yeah, I saw a picture of it.
I
Yeah.
love this van. Do you know why I love this van? Because it looks like the Scooby-Doo gang van.
Kinda.
Yeah,
It really,
kinda
it's
does.
kind
A
of the
little.
right color. It's kind of the right make and model. It's really funny, but
Are you thinking Scooby-Doo and gang?
no, but I really, it's just, I love whenever I can find a Scooby-Doo reference in
Yeah.
a story.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
But the thing about that van, the only place I ever saw pictures of it was on Disappeared, that episode that they did on this.
A picture of it is attached to all 3 of the women's Charlie project pages.
Oh, okay.
So
okay.
it's it's accepted more than just the disappeared. Because I would have a problem if it was just the disappeared.
Yeah,
episode, of course, yeah.
I have lots of problems with disappeared, and I don't know if we want me to get on that soapbox or
No,
not.
I do not.
but-
I think this episode's going to be long enough as is. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, but no, I agree. I did see it at several
Okay.
places, yeah.
That was my thing. I was like, it looks like old
Yeah.
news footage, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, it could have been recreation. Who knows?
Because they love
Yeah.
dramatic
No.
recreation.
Yeah,
Not just a recreation.
the picture of that van is on the Charlie Project website, so I'm gonna accept it as a real thing.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
not a dramatic van.
No.
Got it.
Yeah.
Although, did they ever, after they got this van, did they ever show it to their witness and say, hey, does this look like a... Actually,
Yeah, they did.
better still,